I wanted to show you what it's like to go to a Goodwill outlet bin center. So people have carts full of stuff, but they're just these big, huge blue bins full of, usually they have shoes, they have clothes. One usually has toys in it, some have books in it. But this is me pushing my cart around, you just see people milling about. Here's just some examples of the different things that you can get. And really the workers in the back clearly just throw stuff in. There's quite frankly a lot of garbage that goes into them as well. And then you either weigh your cart, which I almost never do because I don't buy that many clothes, or you do things by the pound. Like I just bring a bag with me and I put it in the cart and I do things by the pound. See how high the clothes are stacked up? And there are people who go through every single stack. On this particular day, there were these smaller bins of books, which I've never seen them used before. The books are usually just all thrown in there. And I am looking for very particular books, and I don't resell them. I use them for a different purpose. I need children's books for school settings, and so that's what I was looking for. And so I go through the books. There are many that are hardcover books, brand new books. It is amazing what you can find. And the Goodwill that I go to, it's actually 33 cents per book. It doesn't matter if it's hardcover, softcover, it doesn't matter what condition it's in. Actually, at this same Goodwill, I was standing in line next to someone, and he said he found a book that was, I think he said 80 years old. So he was super happy with that. It's not the kind of book I even look for. I don't have any knowledge about that. So you can see I just kind of put my books in, but what you need to know is if you go, lots of people wear gloves. People take things apart. I've never bought puzzles there unless they're tape closed, which I guess would be safer. This is something I had when I was a kid, and you can see it has most of the parts to it. But you just have to be willing to dig a little bit, and people oftentimes break things. And so, like this one was broken. I thought it was really pretty until I picked it up and I was like, oh, it's broken into all these different pieces. And those things would get weighed by the pound. My books don't get weighed by the pound, but everything else does. And I think the per pound price is anywhere from $1.19 to $2.19. Here are some more books. And again, they usually have a lot more books. On this occasion, they just had a few. But look how great a condition those books are in. Some of them they look like they've never been read or maybe read once. So I enjoy looking for the books. Clearly, there are a lot of people that look for the textbooks to resell. But you can get all kinds of house goods, baskets, little muffin tins. So I like to buy things there that I can use for different craft projects, or I can use at school. It's a really good way to get things inexpensively. But like I said, you have to be willing to dig. Lots of people go through the clothes. You can find really high-end clothes. Oh, this little Peanuts book I did buy. It's a calendar, but it had super cute cartoons in it. And I have a sister that is a little bit of a Peanuts fanatic, and so I think I'm going to try and make something for her out of that. It was an outdated calendar, of course. I think it was from like 4 years ago. But I open the books just to see if they're written in. Sometimes children's books, you'll get somebody who didn't take care of it, or it has water damage to it, and those things I don't purchase. I just leave them. I do often wish that they had a trash can nearby, that they would allow customers just to be like, this is actual garbage. It's so broken that, nobody could use it, or it's not even safe to have in the bin anymore. This was another bin of books that I found, so I go through them very quickly. I'm tall enough to, this is another one that I bought. This cute little Dr. Seuss book. It's a perfect toddler book. 33 cents. In great shape. Sometimes they're chewed up. I don't get the ones that are chewed up. You can tell that they were well-loved books. And I have no idea what Goodwill does with them after. I'm always very curious as to what that may be. But I've never asked. Oh, sorry about that. The video is sideways. That was them calling that they had put out new bins, and people ran. And I've not ever gone over there. I just am like, I'll wait until they're done. But people rush over there, and they really do push and shove. And the person in charge always has to yell at them, okay, go. And, no pushing, no shoving. And I just think they just don't seem very civilized when they do that. So I go and look over after I'm done with the other bins, and I'll go check out those new ones. Like I said, most people aren't looking for the same kinds of things I'm looking for. So this is not my livelihood to go and look at bins to resell stuff. So I don't need to be uncivilized like some of them appear to be. Even when I'm looking at some of the bins, people will start crossing over me, and I don't like that because I'm very methodical about how I look at books or children's toys. And so I just walk away and I'll go back to that bin later. When you're done, there are bags that you can use if you want, but I always just bring my own bags. And because I tend to buy so many books, on this occasion I think I only bought 10 or 15, but I bought upwards of almost 300 books because it was kind of like the mother load of children's books that day. And I think they had 6 bins of them. This is the Snowman at Christmas, and I have the Snowman at Night book. It was a super cute book, so I picked that up. And so after you purchase your things, I just wheel my cart out to my car. And I have this research book, and I actually used this when I wrote my dissertation. And it's a really great book if you're writing your dissertation, so I picked that up. And that I did put up for resale. I don't need to hold on to it. I have another one that I used. Brene Brown I love, so I got her book to read at some point. So when I got to the car, I have shopping bags in my car, so I just put the books in at that time, and I sort them by the children's books I'm going to give to schools, and then I have the other ones, like the Brene Brown book, that will go in my personal collection until I read it. Then when I'm done reading it, I do typically recycle it in some way. I'll give it to someone who I think will enjoy reading it. I'll give it back to Goodwill and they can resell it. Sometimes if I go on vacation somewhere, I'll take it and leave it at the hotel or on the cruise ship because I don't need to take it home. Just the idea that I spent 33 cents on these books is so awesome to me that I'm happy to pass it on. If you've never read Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich, Warren Buffett says that it's the way he found all of his, basically it's what he built his investment strategies on. So it's a great book. That's a Catholic Bible, and I'm always shocked at how many Bibles I found there. It's, I don't know, disappointing in some ways, I guess. And I have Bibles at home, so I don't need them, but I'm always a little bit shocked at how many Bibles I found. So again, I'm looking for very specific books, so even when I find some that I'm like, oh, that's a cool book, or it's really in great quality, I don't buy all of them. I'm very specific. Look, a whole popcorn machine. They have big machinery. I've seen everything. Ironing boards, irons, microwaves. I haven't seen anything as big as like a lawnmower. Oh, that's not true, actually. On the side, and I don't think I got pictures of it, they have a whole section that's furniture, and I don't even ever look at that. I don't know, it's something about being in this warehouse that I don't particularly care for. So I haven't looked at those, but actually now that I think about it, I have seen them. And see, look, they have huge pillows and clothing, and they're just all over the place. My best find so far has been somebody, I don't typically look through the clothes, but I do look just to see if I can see the bottom of the bin, because one time there were a ton of clothes that somebody had started going through it, and they threw the clothes that they were done looking at on the bin next to them, and it turns out that the bin next to them was full of books. And so I took the clothes off the top, and again, I think that was the time that I bought almost 300 books that day, because it was like the motherload of children's books, and nobody else had gone through it because they were covered by all of these clothes. So that was kind of fun, because I did feel like I found a little gem, if you will. There was something in here that I looked at and I was like, oh, I'm interested, and so I dug through it a little bit. And I do glance at the clothes, but I'm not really interested in purchasing clothes this way, because I think it's a process that would take me at least several hours by the time I looked at. I mean, there have to be hundreds, if not thousands of clothes, probably hundreds in each bin. But they have so many bins. You could see when I did a visual of the whole store, there are a lot of bins. There's a Little Mermaid doll, a Disney Mermaid doll. I got that and I brought it home and I washed it. And my littlest one absolutely loves it. And it's in perfect condition. It looks brand new. And again, that's not true of everything you find. One time I did actually find cash. I have this thing about backpacks and bags. I just like collecting them. And they have to be in great shape and like new condition. And I picked one up. Actually, I picked it up because I was looking at something underneath it. It turned over and money fell out. And I was like, bonus. It was like $1 or $2. But I was like very excited. I was like, ooh, I found a little money. You get it where you can, right? I'm sure other people have found money in pockets or purses or whatever. But this is what you have to do. You really do have to dig if there's something that interests you. See if people will take things out, and that the cards for that box are probably all over the bottom. What I have found is that if you find something in one bin that you like, it's likely that there are other things in that bin that you will also find that you like. You can tell sometimes that there are things just all from one donation. Most of these items are supposed to be from the Goodwill stores in the area, and they have a color of the week, and so these are supposed to be the things that were like that color 6 weeks ago, and so they put them in there. These are lids for soda bottles, so that's what I got that day. You can see a few stuffed animals. I didn't get very many books that day. They're board books and hardcover books, but I was super happy with what I got. See, there's the list, how it's sold. This is how you put the items in that little blue basket. They weigh it. That's if you want to put everything on your cart, and they subtract the cart amount. So that day I got less than £1. Plus the books, it was $8.73 for all that I bought. And I was super happy with that, because the board books alone, one of those, that Peanuts Treasury alone would be more than that. I buy old music books. They sell pretty well. There are the other books I bought.